Thank you very much. Thank you. What a group. What a group. We love this place. This was my first victory, right? This was our first victory. Remember that beautiful primary that we had? And Trump came in and Trump won this incredible, great state. And it was off to the races, right? Off to the races. So I want to thank you. And hello, New Hampshire. It's great to be with you on this beautiful day. Oh, this beautiful day. 9 days from now, we are going to win the state. Can you believe 9 days? And we're going to win 4 more great years in the White House. We're going to keep it going. This is the most important election in the history of our country. The most important election. And I never thought I'd say it after what we went through with the last one 4 years ago. This is a more important election because we're fighting people that we've got to end it. We've got to end the fight. We've got to put them down. We've got to end the fight. Our country will never be a socialist country. We have to end the fight once and for all. For the last half century, sleepy Joe Biden has been outsourcing your jobs, opening your borders, and sacrificing American blood and treasure in the endless, horrible, ridiculous foreign wars. Afghanistan, 19 years. 19 years. He voted for the war in Iraq, but for himself, did you know today? You know what happened, right? He put the lid on. You know what the lid is? He's constantly putting the lid on. Constantly putting the lid on. The lid means, I guess it's referring to a garbage can, right? You put the lid. And he's putting the lid on. This guy has more lids. I don't know. There's something going on. Somebody said it's strategy. It's not, because really strategy would be coming out. And by the way, a lot of things are happening lately. Have you been noticing? Have you been noticing? I just was asking some people to go back to the fake news and go to the back of the plane. A lot of people up there, a lot of cameras. And I was saying, and I wish those cameras would show behind the cameras. There are thousands of people there, and thousands of people outside on the street. Thousands. There are thousands of people outside, but have you been noticing what's been happening? People know we've done a great job. What's going to happen? This is going to be as exciting, maybe, I don't know, you can't say more exciting. You remember that beautiful night in November 4 years ago, right? Well, I don't think this one will be as close. I don't think this is going to be as close. Thank you. Thank you. No, that's a chant. In all fairness, I said, has anyone in the history of politics, think about it. Ronald Reagan was popular, but they never had that chant. That is a chant. I won't even say it because I don't want to cry. But Ronald Reagan never had that chant. Nobody's ever had that chant. And you see what we go through. It's a tough thing. The swamp is deep and it's vicious. These people are vicious. These people don't report the truth. It's very hard. They don't report the truth. So, for instance, I asked them, would you please turn the cameras around? They don't do that. They never do. They have this shot all the time. I don't have that big an ego. I don't want that shot. They have this shot. You know what they show? They show myself and about 5 people back there. And on occasion, some of the people back there become big stars because they are on camera. But they never move the camera, and I used to think it was the way it is. You know, you couldn't move it. Mechanically, you couldn't do it. And then all of a sudden, we don't see that anymore. I shouldn't say it, but we don't see it anymore. They used to have little fights, right? Little problem. And the camera used to turn like a pretzel to catch it because they viewed that as a bad thing, right? A bad thing. And that camera would turn around, that steel would turn like there's nothing to it. but they never show the crowds. But you know what? They don't show Biden's crowd when 7 people show up. And you know what? They don't show Barack Hussein Obama. He came out to campaign 2 days ago. Right? And they had 42 people. He drew flies. Did you ever hear the expression? Obama drew flies. But they don't show that. But we want them to show our crowds because there's never been anybody, and this is us as a group, anybody, any group, any movement that's ever gotten the kind of crowds that we have. And I was told about New Hampshire. I understand you have a lot of friends that live up here, but I understand New Hampshire. I was told in New Hampshire, you can't have big crowds. You have to go to everybody's dining room and have dinner with them. This was even as I was campaigning, you know, I said, I'm sorry, it just doesn't work. You got to get together and all. And, you know, you have guys that have nothing much to do. They're politicians, and they'll go and have dinner with 2 or 3 people every night, and they'll do this for years. And then they come in, you know, 7th in the primary or something. I said, no, we got to do this. And we've been doing this from the beginning. You have the good arena that holds a lot of people, and we pack that all the time. But now with the COVID, what we do, and, you know, they keep talking about cases. You know why we have cases so much? Because that's all we do is test. If we cut our testing down in half, they'd say, well, they wouldn't say that, but cases would go down in half. Now we have the best testing, and we are coming around. We're rounding the turn. We have the vaccines. We have everything. We're rounding the turn. Even without the vaccines, we're rounding the turn. It's going to be over. And you know who got it? I did. Can you believe it? Every time I'd have these meetings, a lot of people, because I can't put myself in a basement for the next year and a half, okay? I can't do it. No, I can't. Or I can't go to a beautiful bedroom in the White House and lock myself up for a year and a half. You're president. You have to do your job. And I'd have meetings, and I'd leave meetings. And I'd leave a meeting, and I'd say, that wasn't good. You know, there are a lot of people, and there's a lot of love in the rooms a lot of times. A lot of times there's no love at all, just the opposite. But I'd say, that might not be good, but you got to do your job. And I went, and what they do is incredible. The doctors are incredible, and especially when you're president, because you have more doctors. I mean, I don't know if I could ever get used to this again, going back to a normal where you actually have one doctor. You have a doctor for every single part of your body. Sure. And they want to touch you, too. They want to grab you. They, sir, I'm a specialist in this or that. Could I check this? I said, I'd prefer not. But, you know, I didn't feel good. And wonderful doctors. Sean, White House doctors, terrific. They're all really talented people. But I had 12 of them, literally 12. Johns Hopkins. I had doctors from the best schools and best hospitals in the world, because you're president, right? And I said, I'm not feeling too good, fellas. What are we going to do here? And the following morning, I took something called Regeneron. The following morning, I felt so good. I felt like Superman. I wanted to get back. I didn't want to cancel anything. No, we didn't want to be canceling. We didn't want to be canceling a lot of things, right? We didn't want to say, I'm going to take the next like Biden. I mean, I don't know what the hell's wrong with him. He never goes anywhere. And when he does, it's Delaware. Now, I like Delaware, too, but, you know, he just wants to stay right next to that house. He feels very uncomfortable. Yesterday, he did some kind of a crazy rally with the horns, right? And then the camera made a terrible mistake. The guy's going to get fired, I'm sure. Because the camera turned around and there was nobody there. And then he got very agitated, right? You saw that. Because you know who was there? Our people were there, right? And they were screaming, and he can't think too well. He was having a hard time. And he got very angry. And Obama got angry, too, because he went out someplace, and it was all our people. And today they're having this incredible rally on Long Island. You know, what's happened to New York is so sad with the crime. Democrat run. Only Democrat run. Where you have Democrat run, you have problems. You have crime. It's all closed up in many cases. Lockdown. By the way, you have an excellent governor here, right? You have an excellent governor. Can I say that? Good. Sometimes I'll say that and people don't like it, but you do. You have a good governor, good guy. And he's with us, and the family is good. And his father's great. His father, I'd see that name, Sununu, I say, man, he was brutal. He was tough. And once we won, there was nobody better than him. There was nobody rougher, and there was nobody better. But it's a good family. They really are. They've done a good job, and you're open up, and you're doing business, and here we are. Here we are. But Biden has the lid on again. It's really, I guess he figures if he keeps the lid on, he's not going to make a stupid statement. He made one yesterday. Yesterday he said, I'm getting tired of smart people. No, you got to like smart. Right? He said that. Then he said something much worse, right? He talked about the fact that we have the most corrupt. He didn't mean that. He didn't mean that. But I think maybe we'll put a clip up. We have a new deal. If we like people, oh, there it is. See that little screen? That costs a lot of money. And if we like you, like we do the great state of New Hampshire, if we like you like we do New Hampshire, we put that up. And we have a couple of little clips like he's against Social Security, little things like that. How about his oil comment? And I said, it took all the way to the end. He was doing okay. I wouldn't say it was Winston Churchill. But he was doing all right. He was getting through it, and then all of a sudden, it came out, the oil, and he wants to transition. I said, okay, are you listening, Texas? Are you listening, Pennsylvania? Actually, are you listening? You know why? Because your bills, because of New York, you have the highest energy bills in the country. New Hampshire, all of New England, because they won't allow, we're going to do it anyway, but they won't allow a pipeline to go through New York up to New England. You know that, right? And because of that, and all it would do is cause jobs, because upstate New York has been an economic disaster under Cuomo. And people are leaving. But think of it, a pipeline that nobody would see, way underground, would reduce your energy costs by 50, 60, 70%. And Governor Cuomo won't allow it. So we're having a little bit of a dispute. This should have been done years ago. I get stuck with everything. I get stuck. But we'll get it done. If we do that, we can get your energy costs down 50, 60%. So it means a lot to everybody. Sleepy Joe, and they are going to... Are you turning the cameras around? Could I ask you to turn? Because you have never seen. People don't even believe it. Look at them. Look at them. People don't even believe it. I only get disappointed because, honestly, the media, the fake news, is too close to me. If they were further back, we'd get more people up here, my people. I'm saying this to my representatives. If they move that back, they have magnifying lenses that are very good. If you move them back, you could have people, they wouldn't be blocked out by the fake news. Our lives are blocked out by the fake news, right? But Sleepy Joe voted for NAFTA, which was the worst thing that ever happened to your state and all of New England more than any place. Your factories are still, some of them, empty. And China's entry into the World Trade Organization, he shuttered your factories, shipped away your industries, and he allowed deadly drugs. One thing I learned more than any other place, New Hampshire drugs. For some reason, you get hit harder than anybody else. We brought it down 19%. We took it down. Now, we got set back because when the plague came in, all of a sudden we're looking at different things. But we got it down 19%. I met with your police. We went to the precincts. For some reason, your drug problem, opioids, everything else, is greater than most other states proportionately. And we focused very hard in New Hampshire. We got it down 19%, it's coming down further. Had a setback when the plague came in from China. But we got it down to 19, and we're going to get it down a hell of a lot lower than 19 before we're finished, believe me. And he allowed drugs, deadly drugs, really deadly drugs, opioids and fentanyl, to pour across our borders and flood into your schools and your towns and communities, and more in New Hampshire proportionately, as I said, than any other place. In 2016, you voted to fire the depraved political establishment, and you elected an outsider as your president who is finally putting America first. This is not the crowd that comes in second, okay? You know, when you leave, it's like a poll, right? Except much more accurate. When you leave a place like this where you have thousands and thousands of people and more people than all of this outside, unfortunately, can't get in, which I feel badly about. We put speakers out there, but they can't get in. But when you leave, you say, this is not a state where you're going to come in second. It's just not, because come in second. If Joe came in, even if he came in that beautiful Air Force One, is that beautiful? You know, I'll tell you quick. Should we tell? We have plenty of time today, right? Like, is there any football game? We don't watch football as much anymore, right? Until they stand and honor our country, we don't care. Until they honor that. But, you know, when I first came in, I said, how old is Air Force One? Now, we have the greatest people in the world in our military. They're incredible. Look at the condition. That plane looks like it's 2 days old, right? But it's 30 years. Can you believe it? So I said, so what's going on? Well, they're negotiating with one, and they signed a contract for $5.7 billion. It's actually 2 planes. People don't realize this. Air Force One is 2 planes, okay? You always have 2. You're very spoiled when you have this job. I guess they figure if it's ever a little bit off or a little broken, you just rip out the second one for $2.5 billion. But it's a most incredible machine. So anyway, so I said, well, but 30 years is a long time. I'm not talking about for me. I'm talking it's a long time, and I'm good at airplanes, okay? Been very good at airplanes. I said, so what's the price? $5.7 billion. I said, you got to be kidding. For 2 airplanes, okay? I have friends, they order a Gulfstream, and they pay $78 million. I said, half of an engine costs more than that. So 5.7, so I said, I met with the head of Boeing, good man, and I said, this is the first week. I said, we're not going to buy it. Signed contract, all done. $5.7 billion. I said, too much money. We're not buying it. They said, why do you say it's too much? I said, because Obama agreed to it, so it has to be too much. It's the only thing. I didn't know anything about it. I didn't know anything about it. But I knew if they were buying it, it was too much money. So I said, nope, I'm not going to do it. I said, cancel the order. So I went to a general. I said, General, I want to cancel the order. Yes, sir. And I said, why can't we keep using this 30 years, sir? And he's right. You know, look, you know, planes would come in from especially other countries, but from Arab countries. And it would be a brand new, what's called a 747-800. That's brand new right off the thing. It's actually a much different plane. It's much longer. It's got a much bigger wingspan. You wouldn't believe it. See the top the way it is? It's a much longer top. I hope you people are interested in this. But no, isn't this better than being on a teleprompter, right? So, no, but see the front. It's got its second floor is much longer. It's as beautiful as that is. It's far more beautiful, bigger, more impressive, more everything, and it's the right thing. So I said, so General, it's a signed contract. I want to terminate the contract. Yes, sir. I said, by the way, you can terminate no problem, right? Yes, sir. I'm very proud of it, sir. Good. You don't have to pay anything, do you? Yes, sir, we have a termination fee. Oh. How much is the termination fee, General? Sir, we pay $250 million that we're allowed to terminate the contract. It's $5.7 billion. So for $250 million, I said, wait a minute, General, wait. They haven't built it yet. They haven't even started it yet. We have to pay $250 million to terminate the contract. I don't like that deal, General. General, don't terminate it, because I want to get it. But I don't want to pay $250, and so just don't terminate it. Just tell them we don't want it. Yes, sir, so he told him. Then I told him, I said, nope, I don't want it. And we negotiated for about a month. And I said to the head of Boeing, really good guy, I said, hey, Dennis, look, it's 5.7. It's got to have a 3 in front of it. Now, I don't know anything about them. And it's very, very special what they have in this plane. They don't have in any plane in the world, okay? This is incredible, the kind of equipment. The equipment costs more than the plane. So I said, no, Dennis, it has to have a 3 in front of it. So this has 5.7, a 5. I said, got to have, in other words, we got to skip the 4s, we got to have a 3. No, sir, I can't do it. So then he comes back a couple of weeks later, he takes $100 million off. I said, nope, it's got to have a 3. I said, cancel it, I don't care. Don't cancel it in writing. I said, we don't want the planes. I was very careful. We don't want the planes. Are you canceling the order? I said, no, we don't want the plane. Because I don't want to pay $250 of your money, if you don't mind. By the way, I could tell you about 300 of these stories, all right? These are stories that are all different things. This one, I just see the plane sitting there so beautiful. So I said, no, we don't want the plane. Now, I can't really go to Europe and order the comparable plane, because there is no comparable plane, but I can. I can't say, I'm going to buy it in Europe. I'm going to buy Air Force One in Europe. Somehow that doesn't work, so I can't. I said, no, we're going to get used to this. We're going to have this plane. We'll fix it up. It'll be just fine. So time goes by, and they raise it. They bring it down another couple of hundred. They bring it down another couple, and then all of a sudden it started dropping like a rock. And we agreed to 3.95. Somebody said, well, it must be a totally different plane. Nope. In fact, I actually had one generator added. It's not a big deal. One generator added. And they said to me, then Boeing came to me, so it's 3.9 as opposed to 5.7. Now, that took about 2 months, 3 months. But isn't it really nice, right? The same exact plane, except with a different paint job. Our plane is going to be as beautiful as that looks, Jackie O. Our plane is going to be red, white, and blue. Doesn't that make sense? Red, white. And then they came to me, and the general came to me. The general came to me, and he said, sir, I know the way you like everything to be perfect. And, sir, instead of coming down, see the big stairway on the left? You're really up there. When you're at that stairway, you're like on a 3-story building, right? And, sir, if it's rainy or bad weather or it's blowing, and I'm thinking about my hair, right? Oh, sometimes, by the time I get down, the big one, the little one is a different deal, but the big one, which we use 95%, by the time I come down that big stairway, sometimes I am wiped out. You know, the wind is blowing. I said, is there any wind outside? Yes, sir, 50 miles an hour. That's good. The stairs are shaking. I'm shaking the whole thing. By the time I get into the car, I end up running the last. By the time I get into that car, I'm wiped out, okay? I got to say. Does anybody have a mirror? So the general said, sir, we can build a new stairway under the plane, sir. It's a spiral stairway. I said, wow, that's a great idea. You'd be totally protected, sir. I said, fantastic. How much? 50. I said, wow, 50. That's a great deal. I'll take it. I said, I'll take it. I said, by the way, so for $50,000, I can build. No, sir, $50 million. I said, I don't want this stairway for $50 million. I tell you this because you people understand business. No, he said, we can build it for 50. I thought he meant $50,000. That's a lot of money for a stairway. No, we can do it for $50 million. So if you don't mind, I decided, let my hair get messed up, right? So that's the story. That's a long story on the beautiful Air Force One. So we have it coming in, and can you imagine after all that? I better win this damn contest. Can you imagine if I saw Sleepy Joe? He wouldn't even know it's a different plane. He'd get on, oh, this is very nice. Where am I? Where am I? You're an Air Force One. Oh, I didn't know that. This is very nice. How old is this plane, he'd say. I'd say, brand new, sir. It's brand new, just came. If I see that gorgeous, you have to see the striping. It's incredible. There'll be nothing like it. And I don't want to see it. He won't appreciate it. He won't appreciate it because he won't understand it. But anyway, so that's the story that I tell. I could tell 100 stories like that. It's all the same. The waste It's all the same. And it was all coming together, and then we had to spend $3 trillion on the plague. Can you believe it? With all of that, peanuts we're talking, we had to spend, and we signed a trade deal with China, which was so great, but the ink wasn't dry when we got hit by the China plague. And we'll never forget it. We'll never forget it. You watch. Sleepy Joe Biden doesn't care about New Hampshire. I saw that. He left this state before the primary was even over. He abandoned you, you know. He likes to say Pennsylvania, well, he left them too when he was 9 years old, you know. And based on the polls, I'm seeing the people of Pennsylvania understand that very much. And as I said at the very beginning, a lot of strange things. You know, we're way up in Florida. We're doing fantastic in Iowa, fantastic in North Carolina. We think really good in Pennsylvania. We're doing great in the great state of Texas. And these aren't polls, these are people now. You know, now you don't need polls so much. These are people. We're doing great all over. Georgia's looking very good. We're doing great all over. This could be a very interesting evening on November 3rd. Now, you know, the biggest risk we have are the fake ballots. To me, they send millions of ballots all over the country. They found some in a garbage can, military ballots. The name Trump was written in by the military, and they found them in a garbage can. Thousands and thousands, 500,000 incorrect applications in Virginia. Thousands and thousands of things. I say the biggest risk we have are the fake ballots. You know, I voted yesterday in Florida, and I went and I voted in person because I like to vote in person. Call me old-fashioned, but a lot of our people want to vote in person. They want to vote. So I went to Florida. Sir, do you have identification? They said that. And they didn't mean to be rude. They want to go through like they would. I took out a passport. I gave them a passport. I took an ID. Wouldn't it be nice to have voter ID, by the way? So the woman was great, very smart, and I gave her the passport. I gave her the ID. She said, sir, I think you might be President Trump. Okay, so I qualified. And then I sat. They gave me the voting thing, slips, very computerized, very good. I went through every one. I said, sir, is this it? Yes. Good. And then I signed my name on something else. Sir, you can go to the booth, and please, here's a pad. You can keep it secret. I said, I don't want to keep it secret. I voted for Donald Trump. I don't want to keep it secret. Now, if I voted for Sleepy Joe, that would be a story, right? That I would want to keep secret. So anyway. No, but I went in. People were fantastic, and I went in, really professional people, great people. I went in. I took it out of the folder. I mean, they wanted me to put it in a folder just to walk it 20 feet to a machine. I took it out. I put it in that. I put it in again 2 pages, certain things they had in, a lot of different races, the presidency and other races, good races, congressperson, good races, put them in. And I said, wow, there was no cheating. There was no way you could cheat. There was no way anything could go wrong. It was like a perfect deal. Now they send, think of that. So that's one way. The other way, they send millions of ballots. We don't know who's sending them. We don't know where they're going. We don't know who's bringing them back. We don't know who signed them. In Nevada, they want to have a thing where you don't have to have any verification of the signature. It is so terrible. And you know who knows it more than us? The Democrats. All Democrat-run states are the ones that are the problem. And they know it, and they say, he's against our freedom. He's against our freedom. No. I want to have a real election. I don't want to have millions of votes sent to millions of different people. And I call them unsolicited. I say solicited is good. That's where you write in, you want, they send it to you, et cetera, which still is not as good as being there. But it's pretty good. But when you have unsolicited, meaning you don't want them, you know, they call them universal. I said, that name doesn't make sense. What does it mean? It doesn't mean anything. They call it different names. I came up with a name. They have millions of unsolicited ballots being sent all over. And it's no good. It's no good. And there's tremendous, every day you pick up the newspaper and you read about The only good thing is we have people watching them like crazy, both law enforcement and yourselves and everybody. But in Philadelphia, which is notorious for what goes on, we want to have poll watchers. They won't let us have poll watchers. So we're in court over poll watchers. Why won't they let you have a poll watcher? What's wrong? Think of it. What's wrong? Philadelphia has been unbelievable. When a candidate, very wonderful candidate, happened to lose very badly, ran a number of years ago, a man named Mitt Romney. Did anybody ever hear of Mitt Romney? He did so badly in Philadelphia, almost nobody voted for him. Now, you know that's not so, but they gave almost no votes for him, almost nothing. And you know that's not so, and it's not right. And we want poll watchers in Philadelphia, and they won't let us have them, so we're in court. But think of it, when they won't let you have a poll watcher, what's that all about? What's that all about? So we're watching it very closely, but I was really impressed yesterday in Florida because there was no way there could be any cheating. There was no way. These people were great, the system is great, and there was no way you're voting twice, you're voting 20 times, or you're not voting at all. It was a beautiful thing to see, but the ballots are not that way. The ballots get handled by many, many people by the time they even get there. And it shouldn't be allowed. And the Democrats know it's a hoax, and they know, and it's going to cause problems. Then we have a ruling from a court, I won't say which court, a ruling that the ballots can go beyond November 3rd, and then they can take time to, in the state of Pennsylvania, which we love, which we think we're going to win. I love Pennsylvania. I won it the last time against Crooked Hillary, right? It was the first time in a long time that somebody won. And we have a situation where they have their ballots, and they have a long time to count the ballots. A lot of bad things will happen during that period of time. Terrible things will happen, crooked, dishonest things. But that means that Pennsylvania, a major state, an important state, very important to me. I'm there all the time. I went to school there. Pennsylvania. So if we don't know the result on November 3rd, that means, unlike has always been where you generally find out the election that night or soon, we could be going on forever with this. It's the craziest thing, and it's frankly, it's a crazy ruling, and we shouldn't let it happen. We shouldn't let it happen. I think that's my biggest fear, my biggest risk for this election is the unsolicited, the millions of unsolicited ballots they're sending out. In California, they're sending millions and millions and millions of ballots. People are getting ballots that don't want them. People are getting ballots that don't even know why they're getting them. It's a terrible thing. Sleepy Joe Biden works for big tech and big donors. And, you know, I'll tell you, when you watch what's happened, how he's being protected, because you see what's going on, he is a corrupt politician. And one of the reasons, and I would say the primary reason he's put the lid on again is because he can't answer the questions. Now, he can't answer these questions. He goes to China, the family makes a fortune. He goes to Ukraine, his son gets put on a board for $183,000 a month. How about Russia? Russia, the wife of the mayor of Moscow, pays him $3.5 million for the son, and then he has stuff that he has to give his father, 10%. Then he has another one where it's 50%. What the hell is going on? Terrible. And then the media refuses to write it. They refuse, except for the New York Post, by the way, whose stock has gone way up. I have a lot of respect for the New York Post. What they've done is incredible. So I'm not just running against Joe Biden. I'm running against the left-wing media, Silicon Valley, censors who want to manipulate and control the American people. No, it's unbelievable. And if you say anything bad about Biden, they block you. They take you down. Or they make it so you can't go on any of these sites, Twitter or any of them. It's unbelievable. Some high-quality people. They put up a story from the New York Post, fourth largest newspaper in the country, and the oldest by far, founded by Alexander Hamilton. Somebody puts up a story about this Biden corruption, which is incredible, and they block the story and take down his site. It's unbelievable. the great Charlie Kirk. But many of them. With your vote, we will continue to fight for American workers, lower drug prices. We are bringing drug prices down, way down. It's already happened. Support our great police, protect the Second Amendment, defend our borders, and ensure more products are proudly stamped with that very beautiful phrase, made in the USA, like the old days, right? We go back to the old days sometimes, made in the USA. People used to be so proud of that. We are again. We will deliver record prosperity, epic job growth, groundbreaking therapies. The therapies are unbelievable. By the way, here I am. Now, I don't know, maybe I didn't need it. Maybe I didn't need it, but I'm happy I took that Regeneron. Superman. And a safe vaccine, and we have many of our greatest companies and labs are coming out very quickly with the vaccines. They're doing great, very shortly, very quickly. It's going to be delivered fast. That will quickly end the pandemic. It's ending anyway. We're rounding the turn, but the vaccine will get it down fast. Because we want normal life to resume. Normal life. We just want normal. Normal life. And next year will be the greatest economic year in the history of our country. You know, last year, New Hampshire had by far the best year economically that you've ever had. And I can say that for, I think, every state in the union. I really think just about. I don't have to go check. I don't have to be like Joe where he has no idea, you know. You just say, no, it's uniform. I think just about every state in the union. And you see what's happening now. We have a super V. We're recovering at a level. Housing starts. The Atlanta Fed just predicted. Now, this is not a forecast by me. This is the Atlanta Fed. That GDP has risen, will rise for the third quarter, which will end, by the way, it'll be, I think the number will be produced on November 1st, which is just before, but hopefully you'll have voted by that time. That's the crazy thing. Everybody will have voted before some of this incredible news comes in, but the news has been very good anyway. They're predicting GDP up 35%. Nobody's ever had that, right? I think 8%, I don't know what the record is, but like 8 or 9 or something maybe is a record, but this is 35% up, faster than any other country anywhere in the world. We went down less, and we've gone up faster. So within my first year in office, I delivered the largest tax cuts and reform in the history of our country. We cut taxes $2,200 a year. So that's for the typical American family. We doubled the child tax credit, $1,000 a child, and we increased median household income to the highest levels ever recorded. Highest. Then we had to close it up, save millions of lives, at least 2 million lives, and now we're opening it up. The radical Biden-Harris agenda, what do you think of Harris? Oh, boy. More liberal than Crazy Bernie. Can you believe it? So you have Crazy Bernie. He's crazy, there's no question. But he's a good sport. He's a great sport. No. Have you ever seen anybody lose so much and be so happy about it? It's happened now twice. Is Bernie running again in 4 years? Media, is Bernie Sanders projected to run again in 4 years? I think so. He'll be up there. One thing about him, he fights. Yeah. You know, he fights. But he somehow doesn't mind losing because Elizabeth Warren, a neighbor of yours. No. Elizabeth Warren, super radical left, not as bad as Bernie. And by the way, not even close to Kamala. But if she would have, and you know, I say it all the time, if she would have left, because she was gone. If she would have left before Super Tuesday, Bernie would have won every single state. That Sleepy Joe, he was shocked when he won. They said, Joe, you won. What? I did? How? What happened? Well, Elizabeth Warren stayed in the race, Joe. So when people voted, they split the vote. So Bernie Sanders would have gotten all of it. He didn't have to get all of it. He got If he got just a few of her votes, he would have won everything. I mean, literally, but he would have gotten almost all of them. He said, oh, okay, explain, how does that work? I said, forget it, Joe. He wanted to know how that worked. The radical Biden-Harris agenda is projected to slash the typical American's income, and you saw this in the Wall Street Journal, income by $6,500 a year over a short period of time. And also, it will destroy at least 5 million jobs. Joe Biden is promising the largest tax hike in American history. This is the first time, I said it last night, we were in Ohio, we were in Wisconsin, we were in North Carolina. I'm doing 3 or 4 of these suckers a day. That's not bad. Right? And he's got the lid on everything. I said, where is he campaigning? Sir, he's decided you can't have a president in this world where you have President Xi, President Putin, Kim Jong-un, and lots of people. You cannot have a low-energy president. Now, there's a reason he's got the lid, and I'm trying to figure it out, and I have a feeling it's because of the corruption, because he can't have. Did you see where he walked out in prime time right after it happened, holding ice cream, right? And the press asked him, what flavor is it, sir? What flavor? I think it's vanilla and chocolate. That was the question. They don't ask me questions like that. What flavor, sir? I don't think he likes me too much. We better win. No, he's not a nice guy. He's not. No, people that knew him in prime time, he was never a nice guy. Phony guy. He was never a nice guy. I don't think he's a nice guy. But now he's probably more agitated than ever before. Biden's $4 trillion tax increase is a missile aimed at the heart of the middle class and middle-class families. That's all it is. You're going to lose all your jobs. These companies are all going to go back where they came from. We brought in tremendous numbers of companies. I mean, look at the auto business. We hadn't had a factory in 40 years, and now they're opening up all over Michigan, all over the place. Ohio, North Carolina, South Carolina. We didn't have, I'd say to Prime Minister Abe, a great, great gentleman who retired. He had a problem, medical problem, but he retired. I'd say, Shinzo, you got to open some factories in Michigan. You got to open up some factories in the U.S. I don't care where, you got to open up factories, Shinzo. You're selling too many cars made in Japan. You got to make them in the U.S. And he'd say, well, I don't do that. I mean, look, we don't have anything to do with that. This is done by the private sector. I said, Shinzo, you're a powerful man. You can do it. I really can't. I said, you have to do it. Next day, they announced 5 companies were opening up factories. So that was the end of that idea. And he's a great guy, Shinzo. And I hope he's going to be well. He was a great leader of Japan. In my second term, I will pass another historic middle-class tax cut. It's already... Now, Biden, you know, all my life I've been studying politics. I watched it. I was on the other side. I was a contributor to, like, everybody. They came to my office. I was a contributor to everybody. And they would come in. But all my life I watched, and I'd watch Texas. And I've never seen this before, where somebody goes, we will raise your taxes. Vote for me. No, it's never happened. I've always watched politicians, we will cut your taxes, we will cut your taxes, we will cut your taxes. Biden gets up, we will raise your taxes. And people say, oh, a lot of people don't get it. They'll go like, oh, did I hear that right? No, it's going to raise your taxes. So Biden wants to eliminate oil. Think of it in Texas. You saw him in the debate the other night. Now, he can't get away with that. I said, so tell me, because he almost made it. And then that last question got him. And Kristen, who is, you know, not particularly in my camp, I thought she did a good job, to be honest. I thought she did a good job. She looks at him, she goes, why would you do that? And then I said, yeah, why would you do that? And unfortunately for his party, he said he will transition out of oil. And I said, are you listening, Texas, right? Are you listening, Pennsylvania? And are all the people in the country, because we have an energy-independent country right now. And once we get New Hampshire and New England, the pipeline cutting across New York, which we're very close to getting, you will have energy prices that will be like low, very low, very low. And nobody else will be able to get that pipeline, that I can tell you, nobody else. That means that no heat in New Hampshire, winters, $5 a gallon gasoline, much more than that, I think. Think of it, what are you now, $2? And you'll go under $2, right? $2, right? Armenia, you know Armenia? We're working on that, you know, we're working. We did it with Kosovo and Serbia. Do you believe I got 3 nominations for the Nobel Peace Prize? Can you believe it? Can you believe it? The Middle East, we're doing peace. I did it the opposite way of what these fools did for years. We just signed the 3rd Sudan yesterday, we signed. So we have Bahrain, UAE, United Arab Emirates, led by a great gentleman, a great leader, a great warrior, actually, Mohammed. And yesterday we got Sudan. I mean, no blood in the sand, no cost, no this, no that. The opposite way. And then we got one, Serbia. We had Serbia, because this relates to Armenia. We had Serbia, Kosovo. We're doing a trade deal. I said, wait a minute. These people, right? Serbia. These people have been killing themselves. They've been killing each other for years and years and decades, and we're dealing with both of them unrelated. I said, fellas, if you don't get your act together, we're not going to deal with you. What the hell do we have to deal for? We don't have to. You know, we're doing trade deals. I said, wait a minute. They've been fighting each other and killing each other for years. I told my people, tell them they got to work a deal. Otherwise, we're not going to do a deal with either of them. Of course, there's nothing. And you know what? They hugged and they kissed in the Oval Office, and they were so happy. And this is after many years. Nobody thought they could come together. Nobody thought they'd come together. That deal was worse than Israel, if you think about it, and the Palestinians. Israel and the Palestinians, they say, can't. It'll come together. It'll come together. We stopped paying. We used to give the Palestinians $750 million a year. And I said, look, we're not going to pay you. If you're not going to make a deal, why would we pay? And other people said that was a terrible thing. It wasn't a terrible thing, because they'd say death to America, death to Israel, you know, et cetera, et cetera. And now they want to talk. They all want to talk. So we have 3 countries. We have many countries lined up. You'll end up with peace in the Middle East with nothing, but for nothing. And a neighbor of yours, John Kerry, said 2 years ago, it would be impossible to do the deal that way. No, that's the only way you can do the deal. And it'll all come, it's all coming together beautifully. We're going to have peace in the Middle East. What we've done is pretty amazing. But with Serbia, Kosovo, so we signed a deal. So they gave me a Nobel Prize for that. They gave me a Nobel Prize for something else. They should give me a Nobel Prize for what I did in Syria. When I say Nobel Prize, nomination, I don't know. You know, I don't know. But with Serbia, so now we have Armenia. Look at the Armenia. They are incredible people. They're fighting like hell, right? They're fighting like hell. And you know what? We're going to get something done because, thank you, and I love you too. You know, the Armenians have had a tough go. But I saw, in fact, I was in yesterday, Ohio, actually. I was in Ohio because I went to various stops, but in Ohio, we had a tremendous group of Armenians with the flag and the whole thing, the spirit. And the problems that they have and the death and the fighting and everything else, we'll get that straightened out. That's going to be, I call that an easy one, okay? We'll get that. Go back and tell your people. Go back and tell your people, all right? We'll get that straightened out. Armenia, why not? It's easy. If you know what you're doing, it's like that. If you know what you're doing, it's easy. But we will. But think of that with Kosovo, Serbia. I said, well, we're doing these 2. We're not doing either deal unless they put it together. And they both came back, the prime ministers. They came back. They were in the Oval Office 2 weeks ago, hugging and kissing. It was an incredible thing, very historic. And what are we doing? We're saving a lot of lives. We're saving a lot of good people from being killed. See, normally I wouldn't tell you all this stuff, but we're in the afternoon. Where are we going from here? There's no more NFL that you watch. Where the hell are we going? Biden has also vowed. You think Sleepy Joe would be doing these things? I don't think so. I don't think. He'll go back to bed. Hillary used to spend a lot of time in bed, too. But she had more energy than him. She did. She had more. They said, what's the difference between crooked Hillary Clinton and Biden? I said, well, obviously they're both crooked, but let's get out of that. The big difference is she had more energy, but not much. And she's a more intelligent person. I will say this, she's a much more intelligent person. Until she used the word deplorables, I thought she was very smart. Biden has also vowed to impose the highest business tax rate in the developed world on companies that created jobs in our country. They came over here, they created jobs. They'll be gone in 2 minutes. Triggering it would trigger a mass exodus of companies and jobs out of America and back into the places they came for or other places. That's what happens. They would leave. And we don't want people to leave. We want them to stay, and we want those jobs, and we want that income. You've had them leave already under NAFTA. Biden also pledged to eliminate our tariffs on China. We're taking in tens of billions of dollars. We taxed them where they dumped the steel. We taxed them where they targeted our farmers. I gave our farmers, this doesn't pertain too much to you, but a little bit. I gave our farmers $28 billion from China because they were targeted. And it kept our farmers solvent and actually strong. In other words, he wants to raise taxes on American factories and give preferential treatment to Chinese factories. There's nobody that wants to see us raise taxes on companies more than China and other countries because they're going to pick up the business. So remember this, if Biden wins, China wins. If we win, New Hampshire wins and America wins. Very simple. Very simple. Besides that, how can he make a deal with China when he's taking a lot of money out of China, right? For himself and his family. His son walked away with $1.5 billion. He gets fees on $1.5 billion. So how can a guy like that, seriously, did you see the letter? Oh, that laptop he's got. You know, the laptop. You know what it's called? I said it last night in Wisconsin. It's called the laptop from hell, right? That laptop. That laptop is not good. But did you see that he wants $10 million a year from China for introductory reasons? In other words, he's going to introduce them to people. You know who the people are going to be? His father. Going to introduce him to his father. So this guy was, we won't say why and how, sadly, no longer in the Navy, right? Empty years, nothing. And then his father becomes vice president, and now he's making tens of millions of dollars. It's wrong. It's wrong. And Joe's making it too, by the way. Joe's making it too. 10%. We got to give 10% to the big guy. Oh, what does that mean? Tell us. What does 10% to the big guy mean? Explain that. That's why Joe has got that's why Joe has the lid on. The Biden tax hikes will also reimpose Obamacare's individual mandate penalty, which I ended. I ended the individual mandate, most unpopular part, which really makes it not even Obamacare anymore. We took it, the most egregious thing in Obamacare was the individual mandate. You had to pay a fortune for the privileges of not paying a fortune to have terrible health insurance, all right? And in the meantime, we've brought the rates down. We've done it well. We've done a great job with it. But much better would be if we come up with brand new health care. We'll see what happens in the Supreme Court. Always protecting people with pre-existing conditions, always. 80% of this tax would fall on Americans making less than $50,000 a year. You know, he keeps talking about the 400. It doesn't work that way, and he knows that. Well, he doesn't know it, but the people surrounding him. There's virtually no aspect of American life that Joe Biden does not want to tax and regulate into oblivion. And worse will be the regulations, because the taxes will go through the roof. But I think that the biggest reason we were successful is that I took off more regulations than any president, whether it's 4 years, 8 years, or in one case more. He will also massively cut your, he's always wanted to do this, massively cut your Social Security and your Medicare. and it's all part of the war on the middle class, I don't know what he's thinking. I've never seen a politician that wants to hurt Social Security that survives. And then he denied it, but you'll see in a second, because you don't have to take my word for it. Just listen to Biden explain his crazy views and crazy plans just a little while ago. So roll out the video. I do this because I love this state. I spent a fortune for that, so I hope it works. I hope it works.
The way we pay for it is by rolling back unproductive tax cuts.
That's why I'm going to eliminate the Trump tax cuts.
Guess what? If you elect me, you're not going to have your taxes are going to be raised, not cut.
I would repeal the $2 trillion tax cut. First thing I would do as president was eliminate the president's tax cut.
Let's reverse the Trump tax cut.
The Vice President has laid out a plan to increase taxes.
When would you make these changes is my point, because the economy is in a bad state right now. You wouldn't, I mean, would you wait for unemployment to go under 2%?
No. I'd make the changes on the corporate taxes on day one.
Bingo.
Let me ask you a question, Joe.
Yeah.
You're right here with me.
Yeah.
Have you been on the floor of the Senate? You were in the Senate for a few years.
Yeah.
Time and time again, talking about the necessity, with pride, about cutting Social Security, cutting Medicare, cutting veterans programs.
No.
You never said that.
No.
When I argued that we should freeze federal spending, I meant Social Security as well. I meant Medicare and Medicaid. I meant veterans benefits. I meant every single solitary thing in the government.
Look, here's the deal.
You're an honest guy. Why don't you just tell the truth here? We all make mistakes.
I am telling the truth.
And I not only tried it once, I tried it twice, I tried it a third time, and I tried it a fourth time.
Joe, let me repeat it again. I want you just to be straight with the American people. I am saying that you have been on the floor of the Senate time and time again talking about the need to cut Social Security, Medicare, and veterans programs. Is that true, or is that
No,
not
it's
true?
not true.
That is not true?
That is not true.
I meant veterans benefits. I meant every single solitary thing in the government.
Everything was on the table. I did not support any of those cuts in Social Security or in veterans benefits.
Whoa. Everything was on the table. All right, you're right. You just said it, including, in your judgment, cuts to Social Security and veterans.
In order to get the kinds of changes we need on other things related.
Joe, then
but we did not cut it.
I know, because people like me helped stop that. All that I would say to the American people, go to YouTube. It's all over the place. Joe said it many, many times, and I'm surprised. You know, you can defend that or change your mind on it, but you can't deny the reality.
Secondly, we're in a situation where we have put together, and you guys did it for our administration, the President Obama's administration before this. We have put together, I think, the most extensive and inclusive voter fraud organization in the history of American politics.
Proudly for your dad, first African-American state senator in the state of Delaware. Everything about. And by the way, you know, I sit on the stand and it get hot. I got hairy legs that turn blonde in the sun. And the kids used to come up and reach in the pool and rub my leg down so it was straight, and then watch the hair come back up again. They'd look at it. So I learned about roaches. I learned about kids jumping on my lap. And I've loved kids jumping on my lap.
So he did try and cut your Social Security, just like he said for a year, there will be no fracking. And then he got through that, and he goes to Pennsylvania, and he says you can frack. And then he denied it, and the media never did anything about it. They don't ask him the question. But the other day, fortunately, in the debate, in one of the better parts of the debate, he said he's getting rid of it. So I think Pennsylvania is going to, he will not let you frack. It's not him. His party will never let you frack, okay? It's 1 million jobs in Pennsylvania, and for you, it's billions of dollars in energy costs. I will cut your taxes, not raise them, and I will always protect Medicare and Social Security, just like I've been doing. This election is a choice between a Trump recovery, and I call it a Trump super recovery because that's what's happening. You see the name? And a Biden depression. If he gets in, you're going to have a depression, the likes of which you've never seen before, with the possible exception of 1929. He's going to raise your taxes through the sky. He's going to put all those regulations. It would take 18 years to get a highway approved. We have it down to 2. We're trying to get it down to 1. And it may not get approved for environmental or for safety reasons, but you're going to know very quickly. We have regulation cuts. Nobody's ever seen anything like it. He wants to put all that garbage back in, all that wasted stuff. And we have more cuts to come. And we need regulation. We're going to have regulation, but it's going to be reasonable. It's not going to be where it's impossible to build a simple road from point A to point B. So you have a choice, New Hampshire, between a Trump boom or a Biden lockdown. He wants to lock it down. He said, no, I'd lock it down. We're not locking down. We understand the disease. We're going to take such, and we've been taking care of our elderly, especially with heart or diabetes problems. And we're going to take care of it, and we're going to be careful. We're going to be vigilant. But we're not locking down. He would lock it down in a heartbeat. He would. The Biden lockdown would permanently destroy the lives and dreams of tens of millions of our citizens, wipe out what will be and what's turning out to be the greatest economic comeback of all time. You see what's happening. Desperately hurt our small businesses, inflict lasting harm on our children, and massively reduce life expectancy for the American people, life expectancy. So, for the American people, you see what happens. And I came up with a statement. I don't know. I think it was me. They'll try and find somebody else said it 25 years ago. The cure cannot be worse than the problem itself. When you look at what's happening with these lockdowns, right? I mean, look at Michigan, how she's so vicious. She's vicious to everybody but her husband. He can do whatever he wants. He can go sailing. He can do whatever he wants. No, but look, and we won that case in the Supreme Court. Michigan has to open. It was unconstitutional. She was running like jail cells over there. And Pennsylvania and so many other places. But fortunately, you people are in good shape. You're in good shape. You have no complaints. Lockdowns will also lead to a surge in drug overdoses. That's what's happening. Drugs, alcohol, depression, suicides all over the place, tremendous family disputes like they've never had before. It's a horrible thing that happens. The cure can't be worse. Under my leadership, we have marshaled the full power of government in our fight to end the opioid epidemic, to help those addicted, and to keep our precious children from getting hooked on drugs. It's had a tremendous impact. And it's really, because this was one of the first states I really worked hard on and campaigned in, I learned so much about that whole drug problem from New Hampshire. This is really the place and you have incredible law enforcement, police, fire departments, where I met with them, and they know this problem better than the experts. Biden is the shutdown candidate. The Democrats are the shutdown party. They will shut down your jobs, shut down your schools, your businesses, your police departments, your energy. They'll shut down your freedom, and they will shut down the greatest economic comeback in the history of our country. That's what we're doing. Do you know how hard it was for me to say, we'll shut it down? We have the greatest economy in history. We're blowing away China. China was supposed to overtake us 10 years ago. 2019, they were going to overtake us. They were so far behind, we left them in the dust. Now, all of a sudden, we have to shut it down. But we saved. Remember, 2.2 million people were going to die. We saved 2 million people, and now we're opening up, and it was a great honor. We had such incredible people. Ventilators, what we did with ventilators. We didn't have ventilators, and now we're making them for the entire world. We have all we can use in our countries. We got along great with a lot of the governors. Some governors, they were all thankful on the phone. Sir, this is incredible what you've done for this state, that state, that. If they happen to be not good people, they would then go out and see the reporters, these people right there, And they'd say, we're not happy with the job the president is doing. We got them gowns and masks and goggles and ventilators and everything else. But now we have the vaccines coming way ahead of schedule. If this were another administration, you wouldn't have vaccines for 3 years. If this were another administration, you wouldn't have Regeneron that nobody heard of 4 months ago. You wouldn't have these new super drugs. And you look at the mortality rate down 85%. 85. Yet it's incredible. And then you look at Europe, it's what's going on. You know, they always used to use Europe. Now they're not using it anymore. Yet, as we've seen from surging cases in Europe, they're never-ending shutdowns. It just never stops. Europe shut it down tight, and now they have a surge. And it'll work out, but it should have never happened. Should have never happened from China. They closed up most of China, but they didn't close the world. They let it come to Europe, the U.S., the rest of the world. Joe Biden has made a corrupt bargain in exchange for his party's nomination. He's handed control of his party over to the socialists. He's handed it over to some very, very bad people. They are filled, and I've seen it, they're filled with rage and desperate for power. This election day, the people of New Hampshire must stop the anti-American radicals by giving Joe Biden, and it's really not Joe Biden. It's the people that control him, the people that surround him, because Joe doesn't have a clue. Joe doesn't have a clue. I really believe he doesn't have a clue. And, you know, we can be nice, and we can say, oh, it's okay, or let's vote for him, we feel sorry. There's nothing to feel sorry about. This is our democracy. This is our country. We have to do what's right. And he's not a nice person. He's not a nice person. We have to give the Democrats a thundering defeat, and that includes Congress. That includes your Senate. You have a very good, by the way, you have a very good Senate candidate. I hope you're going to get out there. Because Corky, you know, Corky is, where is he? Is he here? Corky. Corky Messner. Where's Corky? Corky Messner is doing great. I hear he's doing great. Right? Is he? He better do great. He's running for somebody that doesn't help our nation very much, I will tell you that. So I hope you're going to be able to get out and vote for Corky. And congressional candidates, Matt Bowers and Steve Negron. Right? Great. Where are they? Where are they? Where are they? Hello, fellas. Thank you very much. Good luck. Good luck. And also a friend of mine who's been with me from day one, GOP Chairman Steve Stepanek. Where's Steve? Where's Steve? Steve, are we doing okay? Because otherwise you're going to be fired so fast you're ahead. We're doing good? Steve is great. He loves this state, and he loves our country, and he's the head of the GOP, and he tells us we're going to win. He said, sir, could you come up for a rally? I said, when would you like it? How about Sunday? I said, that's great. So I got in. It's okay. So I got in about 1 o'clock in the morning, just left. Actually, 4 states. Left Florida, right, where I voted. I went to North Carolina. I went to Ohio. I did a big one in Ohio. The crowds were unbelievable. It's an unbelievable state. We got Big Ten football back. I got it back. You know why? Because Biden and his group said, Donald Trump killed Big Ten football. I said, what do I have to do with Big Ten? What's this all about? And then I said, well, not only didn't we kill, I didn't even know they weren't going to open. I'm more focused on China, if you don't mind. And when I heard that, I said, that's terrible. I called the commissioner of football, the commissioner of Big Ten, nice guy, Warren. I said, Commissioner, we got to get it back. And he was good. And we worked very hard. I had a great group of people, Tim Pataki and some others. And we got it back. And then we got Pac-12 back, too. I said, get it back. Get it back. We got to get it back. So we have Big Ten opened up. Ohio State won and Wisconsin won. So they both won. It's nice that they won. I wouldn't have wanted to go there if they lost, but they don't lose too often. But Steve has been with us from the beginning, and he's been fantastic. He was with us for the great primary win, which was so good. And another man who's been incredible. He was from day one. He said, "Sir, you're going to win." I said, "Say it again. You're going to win, sir." And he's a real character. And he's a really good guy. And his name, I'm sure nobody ever heard of him, Corey Lewandowski. Oh, there they are. I'm looking for these people. Hi, Corey. Are you doing okay, Corey? Are we going to win, Corey? You better win, Corey. I'll never speak to you again. I'll never speak to you again. Hey, Corey, next time you could take a bigger chunk of the runway, please. We'd get everybody. Okay. Pretty good crowd, right? But even bigger is what's outside. What's outside. No, Corey's been a friend of mine for a long time. He's great. He does. He loves this state, and he loves our country, and he's a great person. He's a great person. In my first 3 years, we built the greatest economy in the history of the world, and now we are doing it again. You know, I see the hat. Make America great again, again. Make America great again, again. I'm going to add another again. This way I can sell you all an extra hat. It all goes to the campaign. Make America great again, again. No, we did. We had it. It was the greatest. We had the greatest economy. And I'll tell you something. We were coming together. I was getting calls. You've heard me say this. I was getting calls from people that normally I wouldn't be getting calls from. We had the best numbers, the best everything, in every way. And things were happening. Success will bring us together. And we're going to soon have that same, we will soon be in that position again. Very soon. We increased family income over $6,000, more than 5 times the gains in all 8 years. So think of that. In 3.5 years, we did more than they did in 8 years times 5. I mean, think of that. African American unemployment, Hispanic American unemployment, and Asian American unemployment all reached the lowest levels ever recorded. Women had unbelievable numbers, and more women were working than ever at any time before. Think of it. Think of it. Think of that. And by the way, suburban women, you know that. I got rid of the regulation. You know, they keep saying he's not going to do well with suburban women. And you know why they say that? Why? Because I'm going to stop crime. You know, their next spot, the Antifa people, it only happens with the Democrat-run areas, right? But like in Portland. But their next stop is suburbia. But I got rid of the regulation that will allow projects to be built right alongside of your home. And I think that, I have a feeling suburban women are going to be voting for Trump. And, you know, if Biden gets in, they're putting that regulation, very specific, they're putting that regulation back, and you're going to have low-income housing and projects built. You're going to have crime like you never saw, and you're going to want to get the hell out of suburbia. So I think we're going to do very well with suburban women. And I think it's going to be one of the surprises. Remember last time, 4 years ago? We listened. I suffered with this for 6 months. My wife would say, our First Lady, by the way, says hello to everybody. She tested positive also. How about that? She was positive, and then she was better within a few days, you know. But thank you. But she's great. People love Melania. Every time I go, they have signs. We love our First Lady. We love our First Lady. She's great, great First Lady. She represents you well, I can tell you. They don't treat her fairly, but that's all right. She understands it very well. She's done a great job, very popular. But when you look at what we've done, and the last time, right, 4 years ago, he will not do well with women. Right, Corey? Remember that? He will not do well with women. And then They said, wow, he did well with women. After they're crying. They said, what happened? What happened? He did well with women. Was that the greatest evening, really? Remember, I wasn't going to win Florida. I wasn't going to win North Carolina. I wasn't going to win Pennsylvania. Michigan wasn't even talked about. Nobody had won Michigan for decades and decades, Republican. Wasn't going to win Wisconsin, same thing. All of a sudden they start, the evening begins. Donald Trump has won the state of Ohio by 8 points. Nobody ever thought possible. That hasn't happened. So I start off with Ohio, and they all said, 8 points, what's going on? That's when we knew there was something happening. 8 points. Donald Trump won. Then we won Florida. We won Georgia. We won South Carolina. Then we won their firewall. They called it North Carolina. They spent a fortune. They spent a fortune in North Carolina. We won North Carolina. And then we just ran it up, and it was a beautiful, right? And then you saw these very unbiased anchors with the tears coming down. They were very unbiased. Remember John King with the red board, right? His hand was shaking at the end. He was like, well, this is not that bad that he lost Florida, that Hillary lost Florida. She could do, but when we started getting into Pennsylvania, North Carolina, they started getting a little bit worried, right? Now, that was an amazing evening, and we're going to have an even more amazing evening in 10 days. After the virus hit, we recovered faster than any major nation in the world. We're in the process now, but there's no nation in the world that's recovered like we've recovered. Since April, we created a record 11.4 million jobs. We've spent the last 4 years reversing the damage Joe Biden and Obama inflicted. Look, we've done more in 47 months than Sleepy Joe has done in 47 years. And I really mean it, too. I really do. Biden is the living embodiment of the corrupt and treacherous political class that I've had to deal with. Nobody told me the swamp was going to be that vicious or that the swamp creatures. I can't even believe it. I thought it would be a lot easier. They're tougher, smarter, more vicious, and we're beating the hell out of them. And they got rich by bleeding America dry. These same wealthy interests are now funding my opponent's campaign. By the way, you know all the money he raises? I could raise much more. I could sit for one day in the White House and call up every guy on Wall Street, the heads of every firm. I need 10 million, I need 25 million right now. Give it to the campaign. I'd have money. I would set every record in the book. I don't want to do that, because when you do that, number one, we don't need it. You remember last time Hillary spent 3 or 4 times more money. It's not about the money. In fact, recently I was criticized. They said, Hillary Clinton raised more money than Donald Trump. I said, what the hell? Because, we won. And they're bragging that she raised more money. My father taught me a long time ago, if you can win and spend less money, that's a good thing, not a bad thing. Right? It's a good thing. But I would have those donors. I would be talking, Trump raised $900 million. I could do that so easy, but I don't want to do that. If I do that, you'll see there's something wrong. I'm the president of the United States. I know many of these people. Every time he raises big money like that, they've made deals. They're very simple. I serve the people. Joe Biden has proven to be a corrupt politician, whether you like it or not. It's a corrupt politician. And if I don't sound like a typical Washington politician, it's because I'm not a politician. And the people of New Hampshire, you had a lot to do with it, because that was a very big win we had here in that primary. And you don't want a politician. If I don't always play by the rules of the Washington establishment, it's because I was elected to fight for you, and I fight harder than any president has ever fought before. I ended the NAFTA nightmare, and you know it better than anybody else. You have the scars of it better than almost any other place in the United States. And proudly signed the brand new USMCA, which has just kicked in. A whole different ballgame. I wouldn't say Mexico and Canada are thrilled with that deal, but that's okay. I took the toughest ever action to stand up to China under my leadership. We achieved the most secure border in U.S. history. And the wall is going to be finished very shortly, over 400 miles. We're doing 10 miles a week. 10 miles a week. We're doing 10 miles a week. Biden and Harris, the wall. You notice they don't talk about the wall anymore. They used to say the wall will never get built. It's terrible. Every day, front page, hammering me, hammering me. I had a major party, the Democrats, along with the fake news media, and now we find out big tech. And the rhinos, too, the rhinos. You know, the rhinos in many ways are worse than all of them. That's Republican in name only. Does anybody? No, I had this major group of guys, and they used to hammer me. The wall will not happen. It will not happen. Then I won a couple of cases. They kept saying, then the wall started. Now they never mention the wall anymore. And by the way, Mexico is paying for the wall. You do know that, okay? A fee. Biden and Harris have put forward the most radical immigration plan ever conceived by a major party, including nationwide catch and release, which means open borders. It's a disaster. You catch a murderer, you catch a rapist, you know they're murderers, you know they're rapists, and you release them only into our country. If you don't mind, I ended it, and it was very tough to end it. It was very tough. And then Joe said the other night, and they come back to court. No. They never come back. I told him only a very low IQ individual comes back. They never come back. He said they come back for a trial. They say, come back in 4 years. And then nobody comes back. Why would they come back? There's no reason to come back. They would never come back. Only, I'm serious, like 1%, a tiny fraction comes back. And he was so solid on that, right? You saw that. They then come back for a trial. He was making it sound, catch and release was a disaster. I've ended it. We're not letting criminals into our country. Our country would surrender control of our border, and we would surrender control to the cartels in Mexico, who are vicious. The Biden border plan would be the biggest gift in the history. There's never been anything like it to drug traffickers, to human traffickers. They traffic in women, not so much children, not men almost at all. They traffic in women. And because of the wall, they can't come in. This is a problem, by the way, that's all over the world. This is not just us in southern border. This is a modern-day problem at a level that it's never been before. They traffic in women all over the world, and it's because of the Internet, because of the computer, but it's because of the Internet, and children to a much lesser extent, but women. But the drug traffickers would be allowed to freely infiltrate our country and pump their poison into our towns and schools, especially places like New Hampshire, where it was so prevalent before I came onto the scene, and it's been a lot better, and we're going to get it much, much better. Under my administration, over the last 3 years, Border Patrol and ICE have seized over 2 million pounds of deadly narcotics. That's a number that is unthinkable. We even have our Navy, our ships are now in the Gulf and in the Pacific getting it, because when we closed up the border, they went by water. Okay? They don't miss a trick. They're very smart, but we're seizing tremendous amounts in the ocean and in the Gulf. Working with Colombian officials, we've also seized or disrupted 227 tons of poisonous narcotics since April. That's just since April. And then Joe Biden goes out and says the other day that America is nothing more than an idea. No, America is a great country. That's what it is. It's not an idea. It's a great country. And you can't have a great country unless you have borders. Unless you have borders. We invested $2.5 trillion in the U.S. military, all made in the USA, much of it in New Hampshire. And we have weaponry, missiles, rockets, tanks, planes, tankers, submarines. We have We have weapons. We're the envy of the world. Russia, China, North Korea. You take any, we're the envy of the world, and they all know it. Our nuclear plants are all brought back to perfect condition or new. And just hope to God we never have to use it. But you know what? It's going to be far less likely to use when we have it. But it's all been brought back. We have the greatest weapons, the hypersonic missiles that go 7 times faster than a normal very fast missile. We have the greatest equipment. We're the envy of the world. And hopefully, hope to God we don't have to use it. We passed big veteran area. Where's Big Al? Where's Al? I used to love that guy. We passed VA choice and VA accountability. We got it done, right? We got it done. So now instead of waiting online for weeks and weeks and days, and we have your VA choice. You go to a doctor, you get yourself taken care of. We paid the bill, and it's just been a great thing. We just got a 91% approval rating from the vets, the highest we've ever had by a lot. How's Al? Is he around? Where's Al? Where's Al? Where's Al? Al, did I do a good job with the vets? Look at him. Al was great. Al was so depressed when I first started running. I saw him. I just liked him. A big vet. He headed up some groups, and he was telling me how badly the vets were treated. So, Al, we got 91% approval rating from the vets. Thank you, Al. And I hope you're feeling good. You're feeling all right, right? He went through a lot. We killed the leader of ISIS, al-Baghdadi. We killed him. Took out 100% of the ISIS caliphate. And we took out the mass murder of American troops and many others. Soleimani is dead. The both of them dead. Worst terrorists. I withdrew from the last administration's disastrous Iran nuclear deal. $150 billion. $1.8 billion in cash. I withdrew. The deal was nothing. And by the way, the first call I get if we win will be from the leaders of Iran. They want to make a deal because their country is going to hell with the sanctions. They're down 26 or 27% in GDP, which I think is a record also. I recognized the true capital of Israel and opened the American embassy in Jerusalem. And instead of never-ending wars, we are forging peace in the Middle East. No more blood on this hill. A vote for Republicans is a vote for safe communities, great jobs, and a limitless future for all Americans. And do me a favor. Vote for your senator, please. He's going to be such a great senator. I don't know. It's probably a tough race, but you should vote. He will be fantastic. He's what we need. And in conclusion, I want to just say this. A vote for Republicans is really a vote for the American dream, because we're about the American dream. And in conclusion, over the next 4 years, we will make America into the manufacturing superpower of the world, and we will end our reliance on China once and for all. It's already happening. It's already happening. That's already happening. We will hire more police. We love our police. Increase penalties for assaults on law enforcement, and we will ban deadly sanctuary cities. We will uphold religious liberty, free speech, and the right to keep and bear arms. And we're giving you a great new Supreme Court justice, by the way. That'll take place on Monday. The Democrats are thrilled. Monday. 3 of them, all great. We will maintain America's unrivaled military might, and we will ensure peace through strength. That's all we have. We will end surprise medical billing, require price transparency, already signed and done, goes into effect on January 1st. Lower drug prices, favored nations, lowest prices in the world. I'm instituting favored nations. The drug companies do not love me too much. They're taking more ads than anybody's ever taken, but that's okay. People understand. And we will always protect patients with pre-existing conditions, always. We will stop the radical indoctrination of our students and restore patriotic education to our schools. We will teach our children to love our country, honor our history, and always respect our great American flag. And we will live by the timeless words of our national motto, "In God we trust." For years, you had a president who apologized for America. Now you have a president who is standing up for America and standing up for the great people of New Hampshire. Well, I'm standing up. For the last 4 years, you've seen me fight for you, and now I'm relying on you to deliver another historic victory for our country. Get your friends, get your family, get your neighbors, get your coworkers, even get your bosses. Say, "Boss, you got to come with me." And get out and vote. You got to get out and vote. From Nashua to Dixville, from Portsmouth to Plymouth, from Concord to Claremont, and from Meredith to right here in Manchester. I like Manchester. We inherit the legacy of red-blooded New Hampshire patriots who lived by that immortal motto, "Live free or die." Live free or die. That's right. That's probably about as good as it gets, right? That's good. We stand on the shoulders of American heroes who crossed our oceans, settled the continent, tamed the wilderness, laid down the railroads, raised up the skyscrapers, won 2 world wars, defeated fascism and communism, and made America the single greatest nation in the history of the world. And the best is yet to come. The best is yet to come. Proud citizens like you help build this country, and together we are taking back our country. We are returning power to you, the American people. It's happening very quickly. With your help, your devotion, and your drive, we are going to keep on working. We are going to keep on fighting, and we are going to keep on winning, winning, winning. We are one movement, one people, one family, and one glorious nation under God. And together with the incredible people of New Hampshire, we have made America powerful again, our military. We have made America wealthy again, our stock market, 401ks. How are your 401ks doing? We have made America strong again. We have made America proud again. We have made America safe again. And we will make America great again. Thank you, New Hampshire. Thank you.